Hello, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another lesson on our web development course. Today we are going to be doing something very exciting. Today you are going to be building your first website. So yeah, this lesson is going to be very exciting. So recall from our last lessons, we asked you download a software called Visual Studio Code, which is this here. So I'm just going to open up mine. You can also open up yours. So after opening it, you will see a very simple interface like this. So this interface is telling you to open up. Okay, maybe yours won't present. Yours should be something like this. So the first thing you do is click this button here. Then after clicking that button, you press on open folder. So now you can select any folder of your choice, but make sure that folder is empty. So I will just go into desktop and type on my project to open up that. Good. Now after doing this, I want you to please pay attention. So yeah, you get a prompt like this that's asking you if you trust the authors of this folder, and the only thing you should say here is yes. So after doing that, you need to come here to create a new file. Now remember, we are inside of a folder now, but inside of that folder, we would like to create a file inside of it. Now let's create a new file. This file is our entry point to our website. So we'll call it something. It's a naming convention that's used literally everywhere in web development. So we'll call it index.html. So type on that. So after doing that, well, let me zoom ahead. After doing that, look carefully. You tap on shift and exclamation mark. Remember, type the shift button on your keyboard, then you look for where exclamation mark is written. It could be on number 1 on your keyboard. So after doing that, you press enter. Now this is what we call an HTML boilerplate. What's an HTML boilerplate? This is literally an entry point of a website. Now this is like the skeletal structure of our HTML. So what this is saying is these are doc type, which signify the type of document we are presenting. This HTML, this sets the language to English, and this head. The head carries the meta information. We call it metadata. So if you look at it closely, you see char UTF. You shouldn't worry about these two. These first two, you shouldn't worry about them for now. So the thing that you worry about is title. Now the title is used to define the title of your website. So let's change ours to something like my website. See that? Great. Now you just wrote your first HTML code, so you could clap for yourself. So the next thing we are going to do, if you look closely, after this head, we have something called the body. Now the body is used to write the main parts of your website, like the main content of your HTML website. This is where you write it on. So we are going to do something. Remember some of the tags that we learned earlier. One of them is called the H1 tag. Now what's the meaning of H1? H1 stands for head. So this means a single heading. You can say welcome to my website. Now we have written a piece of HTML code, and we'd like to see what we have actually done. But we can't see it from here. So what we do, there's an extension called Live Server. Now what the Live Server does is it helps you to save your website to your local browser. So by then saying you can preview what you have written in your local browser. So after we have written this code, make sure you do something. Press Ctrl S, which is to save. So we have saved what we have done now. So look closely. I would like you to come here. Here, something called extensions. So you click on it. After clicking on it, here is what you do. You search for something called Live Server. You can see it here. I have already installed mine, so you can press the install button to install yours as well. So after doing that, after the live server has installed, let me press here again. Here's what you do. You either right click, depending on the kind of computer you are using, either right click or you left click. So mine is left click because I'm using, mine is right click because I'm using Linux. And after right clicking, go down to the drop down menu and you see something called open with live server. So now you click on this. And as you can see, this has opened up our I'm using Firefox. You can be using Chrome or whatever. So this has opened up my Firefox browser and saved my web page to this Firefox browser. So now let's go back to VS Code. Now we have written our first HTML code, which is heading 1. Now something we are going to do, what we are going to do rather in this lesson is write a small, let's say make something like a small portfolio that we tell our, that will tell either our users or people visiting our page that we are programmers, this is the skill we offer, this is what we know, this is what we can do. So first things first, let's clean up this. Let's clean up. You can highlight that and just click on backspace to remove that. Now I want to teach you something. In HTML, okay, let me use a simple analogy. You know, when a manufacturing company like Indomie, for instance, when they are finished manufacturing their products, they pack all of those products in a measured number. Like they can have 24 or 30 of Indomie pieces inside a carton. They pack it inside the carton. Why they are packing it inside the carton is to make that thing either look presentable or because they want to fix a certain amount of those pieces of Indomie into a box that they can sell. I don't know if you get what I'm saying, but here's what I mean. In HTML, there's something we call div. It's spelled as div. It's also a tag. So what's the usefulness of div? Div is, look at it like a carton that we pack our things inside. So in one div, we can have our clothes. In another div, we can have our socks. In another div, we can have our shoes, and so on and so forth. I think you get what I'm saying. So now, div is used to pack different section or different fragment or different components of our website. Div is used to pack them separately. So to write a div, first of all, write it like this. So when I click here, to close it by itself. Now this div signifies a separate, a separate box of our website. Now we are trying to pack something into this div. Let's look at this div like a carton. So now inside of this div, I'll write something like h1, and so you can see Copilot is giving me some cool auto suggestions. So I'll write welcome to my website. Then I'll go down here and I'll write a p tag. Remember, a p tag is a paragraph tag. It's used to write a separate paragraph. So in this p tag, we'll write my name. So my name is Newton Oyaga. So I'll just say Newton Oyaga. So after that, we type on Ctrl S. Remember I said after we have written our code, we then have to save it through live server. But there's a catch to this. Whenever we serve our code once with live server, the port is automatically opened. I don't know if you know the meaning of port, but port is just like a gateway to something. Here, just take it like a gateway. But from there, the port is already opened, so we can just go straight to our browser without even refreshing because they have hot refresh. So without refreshing, you can see the changes that we made has already appeared here. And you can see these are head tag and these are paragraph tag. If you look closely, you notice the difference that the head tag has more width, more fonts, there's bigger fonts to it, and it is more bolder and sharp, unlike our paragraph tag. So we'll go back here to VS Code. Now remember I said div is like a box. Now let's look at this div here as a box, right? We can't just pack separate box. Like we can't just pack separate box like that without putting them somewhere like a room. So there's another thing called section in HTML. Please, if you don't understand it, you can rewatch the video to get what I'm saying. So there's something called section. You can look at section like a portion of land. Like, let's say I have JSS1 students that I am controlling. So I told my JSS1 student, okay, we have a big hall, right? Each of you with your boxes should come to this side of the hall and put your boxes there. Remember, the boxes are the div, and this section now is a particular portion that I've given to JSS1 students to pack their boxes there. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So you can look at section like a portion of something. Like this is your portion, this is your portion. Okay, right? So now inside of this section, we now put our box, which is called the div. We put our div there, and we do what? We did what we did before, which is our h1, which is said, welcome to my website. And a p tag, which says my name of Newton Yaga. Sorry if I can spell to save my life. Of Newton Oyaga. So I don't think if you understand this analogy, but if you do, kudos to you. So after that, you notice that now we have one div. But here's something. You recall we said section is like what? It's like a portion of something. So this section is for all JSS1 students, and these divs here are individual students box. Let me use that word. So what we have inside is our h1 and p tag. This h1 and p tag, we can look at it like the information that each of our students are putting inside of those boxes. So maybe h1 can be clothes, you can look at it like the shoes. We can have other elements here. Recall, we don't have the head tag is divided into about 6 number of tags. So aside from the h1, we have the h2, we have the h3. So let me just write them out so that you can see the difference in all of them. We have the h3, we have the h4. Remember, we have done all this before, but I just want you to see the difference. So in here, I will just write h2, write h3 here, I write h4. So now Control S to save, and the moment you save it, you can just go straight to your browser and you see, yeah, it has already been bundled here. So yeah, so now you see the difference between this is our h1, h2, h3, h4. So if you notice in this order of, let me see, in a decreasing order somehow from h1 to h4, you notice that there is a slight change or major change in the font size. So h1 is bolder than h2, h2 is bolder than h3, h3 is bolder than h4, and so on and so forth. So we also have h5. I don't know if you have h6, but that's the topic for another. You can also try it out to check if we have h5 and h6. So let's get this out. So you say, welcome to my website. Let me say my name. We should add my name because this is a portfolio. My name is Newton Yaga. So let's save that to check. Okay. So now you remember I said the div is used to, you should look at the div like each box belonging to individual students. So now this student A, this is box. So we can also write another div again. You can write another div. You can put a paragraph inside of it. And inside of this paragraph, you can say something like, hello, how are you doing? So let's save that to see what is going on here. Now you notice that There's another line, there's another paragraph here. If you look at this closely, you would think that these both div are, though they are on the same section, meaning they are on the same portion of they are on the same portion which we have assigned to them, but there's a clear difference here. If we decide to add something like a background image here so that we can see the difference between both div, you'll notice that these both div, depending on the background color that we have given to them, there will be a very, very thin margin between them. But we're not going to do that now. When we go more and more into the course, you will see what I am saying. So yeah, we have written our paragraph. Now we would like to add an image. Everybody wants to always see an image in his or her website. Now here's something that we should do. Before adding an image, we actually need the image inside of our website. Meaning we need the image inside of the current folder that we are working on so that we can easily access it. So here's what you will do. Let me open up my folders to get an image. Please, I would like you pay attention to this. So let me open up pictures. Okay, I have an iron.png here. I don't know what this image is. So what I can do is I can either copy this image to paste it here. To paste it here, what I just have to do is press Ctrl V, and I'll get a prompt that's asking me if I want to paste this, and then I'll say yes. So now I've got, okay, this is an image of Modu Black and some pics of code in the other side. So you can pick any image that you want. Now here is something that is very, very crucial that you should understand. So let's say we are trying to add the image here. Now to add an image, we use the img tag. Click on that. Here is something. Our image has two attributes. One is called the src, which means source, and one is called the auth. Now the auth is used maybe when our image is not loading up, or there was an error inside of our image, or we put a wrong part. The auth tag is used to tell what is inside of this image. Now in this image, I'll write, okay, let's first of all put the path to the image. So you go inside of source. So you're inside of this source, you put your iron.png. Now let's save that first to see what I'm talking about. Save that, go to our website. You notice that we have a big bold image here. I think this is too big, so I will try to reduce the width and the height. So please pay attention. Our image also, we can add a height attribute to it. Let me just say a height of 50, and also a width of 50. I'm just doing this to reduce the size. So you can see it's very, very small. So we would like to increase that a bit. So let's set it to probably 300 by 300. Okay, that's much better. So now I was talking about the auth. The auth is used to, if you look, okay, when we touch, you note browser do not always display the image referenced by the element. This is the case for non-graphical browsers, including those used by people with visual impulsion. So you should understand what they are trying to tell you, that the auth tag should act as something that tells other users that can't actually see the image what is inside of the image, or what this image actually stands for. So now let's deliberately make an error here. So I'll remove the n here, save that. Now when we go back to our browser, we'll notice something, that we have a big empty box. And the image is not present. So what we'll do is we'll go back here in our auth tag. Let's put this is just like a description, so we can add something like iron image, because I saved the file as iron. So but you can call yours anything you want to call it. So when we go back and check, you'll notice something inside of here. Now we have an auth description here that says iron image. So yeah, that's what the auth does. So we can come back here and correct this actually. So when we go back, yes, now you can see that. So here comes to the end of this lesson. In our next lesson, We'll try to work more on this our portfolio website. We'll expand it more. We'll add other components and we'll also do some other cool stuffs. Thanks for watching.